in December, the first Monday in December, I don't remember the day, I'm thinking it might have been a Monday. We received all of our paperwork from BLM, so then we went up and posted all the signs and did all that. And then we was just checking on things. That was like, it's been a while ago. I just trying to remember all the events and how they transpired. But we posted all of our signs, and then we was going up checking on them and just seeing, and that's when we ran into Philip again. And I believe that was on the 9th or 8th or something, like somewhere in there, and that's when we posted. I think we had contact with him that time.
Okay, let me back up. You went up there a couple of different times?
Yeah.
You went up there and you posted some signs?
Yeah, we posted this is a mining claim, the legal signs that, designate your numbers.
And then you left?
And then we left.
You didn't have contact?
No, there was
with
no
him?
contact that night.
Okay, let me ask you the full question.
I'm sorry.
And then answer.
I'll shut up until you're done talking.
I know you're still doing it while I'm in the middle of asking you not to do it. And it just gets hard for everyone to understand what's going on. So if you just let me finish my question and then answer me, then everyone can understand what's going on, okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm not trying to scold you, but it's just hard, okay? Now, you said that you went up there and you posted claims, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that was in the beginning of December, mm-hmm. after you got your paperwork from BLM. Mm-hmm. Okay. You didn't have contact with Mr. Livesay on that date, correct?
I don't believe we did, no.
Okay. But based on what you just told me, you went back and checked on the mine again. Mm-hmm. And that was how many days later?
Let me stop you real quick. When you're answering the questions, I need a yes or no.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. You went back at some point. About how long after you posted your mine claims did you go back to check on the mine?
Probably a week.
Okay. And did you have contact with Mr. Livesay on that day?
I don't recall if we had contact that particular day.
Okay.
His car was there, though.
Okay. By his car, which car are you referring to?
The white car that he had been driving.
Okay. And then did you have any other contacts with him after you posted those signs, but prior to this date that you called the sheriff's office?
Yes, we did.
About how many contacts did you have with him?
I'm saying two.
Two other ones?
Yeah, two other contacts.
Did you have any conversations with him?
Yes.
Can you tell me what the conversation was?
The conversation was, we went up, he was up there, I seen him, so I started heading up. He kind of come down, and then when he recognized me, I was like, I couldn't see him nor he disappeared. And then I just kept walking, my family was with me. So we just kept walking up to the direction he went, and then he was tucked in behind another mine shaft. Actually, it's kind of another entrance that leads out. It's a tight one. And he was kind of tucked in there and popped up. And I said, hello, Philip, what you up to? And he said, I don't remember exactly what his words were. And then I'm like, well, I kind of need to really talk to you about some stuff. And I just tell him it's a nice day, just trying to be nice, conversation. And then he almost took off, to me it was almost dead run. I couldn't keep up with him in my size. And then
I'm having a hard time understanding you. I know you're getting nervous.
I'm very nervous.
Slow down. Okay.
Okay.
So you had a conversation with him. You were kind of just trying to...
It was a quick conversation.
Okay.
Can we just clarify what day this is on?
Do you recall what day this was?
I don't know the exact day. It
wasn't the 9th.
This was not on the 9th. This happened after the 9th.
The 9th of...
December. This was closer towards the end of December.
Okay, but this happened before you had contact with the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Okay. You had a conversation with Mr. Livesay?
Yes.
After you were just talking about things, just trying to be friendly, you said?
Right. Yes.
Did you have a conversation about the mine itself?
As soon as I brought the mine up, he took off, and I tried to keep up with him, but he was gone. And he went back down the mine, and then we went down there, went in the mine to try to find where he went, and I didn't feel safe because I had my family with me, so we didn't pursue the situation.
Do you recall what specifically you said to him?
Not specific, no.
Do you recall whether or not you told him you had gotten a claim on the mine?
I started to. I don't know how much of it he heard.
Okay. So that was one of the contacts you had with him in between you staking your claim and then the contact with the sheriff's office.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any other conversations with him?
Not until the night that, in question on the night.
Okay. You said there were 2 times you had contact with him in between the time that you put up the claims and before you called the sheriff's office. Can you explain what happened on the other contact?
I don't recall.
Okay. When you went up and you saw him on January 9th of 2015, can you tell me what your contact was with Mr. Livesay?
Yes, ma'am. When we pulled up, he was actually still sitting in the car. Him and some girl, which I don't know her. They were sitting in the car,
What car?
the white vehicle that
Okay,
he drives.
okay.
And when we pulled up, the car, the trunk, they had stuff sitting there. There's a chainsaw sitting on the ground. They had some mining pans and stacks of buckets that were sitting out. And I pulled up, and I don't remember the exact conversation, but it was, I wanted to show him the paperwork, because we actually had the paperwork with us at that time. And he wasn't interested in seeing the paperwork. He just wanted to question the fact that, no, you don't own these claims. That's all. He wouldn't listen to me.
Okay, so you're telling me that you had the paperwork with you?
Yes, the paperwork was with us. It's always with us when we're on the mines.
Okay, and you attempted to show it to him?
Yes,
And he wasn't interested?
wasn't interested.
All right, then what happened?
Then I told him that I'd really prefer him to leave, and, we don't want to see him up there anymore. And I was going to call the sheriff, and I believe my wife had dialed the sheriff's number at that time. And he told me to do what I need to do, and he said a bunch of stuff I didn't quite even understand what he was saying, just, on the legalities of our claims. And then he disappeared down the mine. In that direction, he went in the direction of the mine, and that's the last we seen him that night.
So he was inside of the vehicle when you arrived?
Yes.
And he got out of the vehicle at some point?
Yes, and the girl that was in the vehicle with him, she stayed. And then she got a phone call on her cell phone. It looked like she looked at her phone or picked it up, and then, which I wasn't really keeping that close of an eye on her. And then she got out of the car, and then she went in the same direction that he had been in.
Okay. Now, with regards to your monuments that you made, were they still intact when you went up there on January 9th of 2015?
The one was, yes.
One of them was?
Yeah, a lot of them have disappeared. They're not there now. But where we had posted our claim, the one was still currently there at that time. And I did try to point that out to Philip where it was at. He wasn't interested.
Okay. At some point when you arrived up at the mines, did you find any other notices of anyone else trying to stake a claim on the mine?
Not until after the fact. I think it was probably closer into January before we started seeing evidence of other monuments.
Okay. And this incident where you called the sheriff's office was January 9th of 2015.
Right.
So when, around that date, did you find anything else that would indicate someone else was trying to stake a claim?
I don't recall.
Before or after?
That's what I'm trying to think of right now, if it was before or after. And I do believe it was before, because that is when the one time we posted the note. There was a monument he had erected, and it had the note there. And that's when I took his note and I put our letter in there, a letter to the effect of our numbers that we've already staked the claim. And then I took that container that his note was in, and I actually put it right by the entrance of the mine so that he would see it when he went up there next time, because you got to pass right by it.
Okay. There's a lot going on right here, and I'm trying to make sense out of what you're saying. So this container that it was in, was it a different container than was originally there that you put your letter in?
Oh, yeah, it's different.
Okay.
Yes.
And where in relation to your monument was this monument?
Our monument was up kind of up more by the bends. This monument was more towards the entrance,
And
past the entrance.
what was your monument still up?
Poles that was in the ground. That was the metal poles that we had put up that was staked on those.
Okay, so the poles were still up.
Yes.
Was the note still there?
Yeah, our note was up there up until just after all this.
How close in relation to the new monument was your pole? Your closest one? Can you guess?
I couldn't say.
Was it within vision, like eye range, like if
No.
you're standing? Okay. What was this notice, this other notice that you found? What did it basically state?
It was kind of like a form similar to this, if I remember right. And it just said that Philip King and Philip Livesay were staking this claim, and then they had the date of November 27th in it, which what they had constructed the monument out of was stuff we had taken up to the date we was exploring a mine shaft. Back, the date couldn't have matched anyway, but that's what it was.
So when you say the date couldn't have matched, what do you mean by that?
Well, they put November 27th as the date on their note that they were staking the claim, if I remember right. It was November 27th. That's the date I first had contact with Philip, even knew he existed. So, and that's the date they put on the paperwork they was trying to submit. But everything that they constructed their monument out of that wasn't there in the times that we'd been up there past up into December. It was stuff that we'd been taking up there through, because we had some stuff, we was running a camera down one of the shafts. And so we had a board and some other stuff we was using as a pulley system to get the string on. That's what he used for the monument. That wasn't up there. It was up there, but we've used it since November 27th. That's the date we took it up there, was November 27th. But the date that he constructed it was into December, maybe 1st, 2nd, 3rd, somewhere in there. I don't know when they built it, but I don't know what you're asking them.
That's all, that's what I asked.
Okay.
So your testimony is that that monument was made out of your materials?
Yes. Well, not the rocks, but the boards.
Okay. That you had left past the date that that note was...
Right, we left them there on the date of the note, but we'd used them since that date, because that was on a Thursday when we went up there, the 27th. And then we went back that weekend, and you messed around more up there that Sunday, I believe we was up there following. So it was like December, right? I don't remember the dates exactly, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it would have been the weekend after Thanksgiving that we was up there trying to do the camera again, getting more videotape of that one shaft, what was down there, because it's like 400 foot deep, we was just curious.
Okay.
And then when we did go back up in December, just before we actually called the sheriff, it was the time before that when we was up there, and Philip wasn't up there, but that had been erected. And that's where we found, my son actually found that box in that monument.
Okay. I want to ask you, when you had contact with Mr. Livesay that day, and you said you had paperwork with you.
Mhm.
Is that the paperwork in front of you or not?
Yeah, it's basically the same paperwork. Except ours, I think, are the original copy. No, original copies are at the house. That would have been the same paperwork.
A copy of the paperwork that you had that day?
Yeah.
Right. United State would offer exhibit number 1 into evidence.
The objections, Mr. Rowan?
No objections.
All right, so ordered.
With regards to the person prior, you said that there was someone who had a claim on the mine prior to
Yes, ma'am.
you. Was that person Philip Livesay?
No.
Okay. May I approach her and have this exhibit marked?
Yes.
Mr. Livesay, I place it in front of you. It's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 3. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It is a letter that was put up there,
Put up where?
as you come into the mine claim, where our signs are posted,
Okay.
where our claim numbers are right on one of the signs. My brother had actually found this letter, and we didn't quite understand what it meant. We did call BLM on it, and they said that to ignore it because it didn't, the only way a claim could be abandoned was if we didn't pay the maintenance fees.
Okay, so this is a note that you found on one of your monuments? Is
No,
that-
it's not the monument. There's a sign that used to say Golden Rule Mine or whatever the mine was. It's a big wood sign as you pull on, actually, you start to go onto the property.
Okay.
And that's
So-
where our numbers are posted.
So that's a copy of the letter that was found on that mine?
Yes.
And who does it assert that letter is by?
Philip King.
And do you recall about what date you found that letter?
My brother actually took a picture of it and sent it to me, and I believe that would have been March of
March
this year.
of 2015?
Yeah.
So after your contact with the sheriff's office?
Oh, yeah, way after the contact. And the letter was still kind of crisp, and we could tell it had just been put up because it wasn't old yet, and there had been rain and everything else since that point, so.
Your state would offer exhibit number 3 into evidence.
Any objections, Mr. Howard?
No objections.
All right, so ordered.
Now, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Mr. Ritter, I'm placing in front of you what's been marked as state's exhibit number 2. Now, just briefly, do you know what that is, or would your wife be someone better to ask questions about that?
It's actually describing each claim, the locations of the claims.
So you know what it is?
I believe I do.
Okay. And you provided that to the county attorney's office, right?
To the county attorney's, yes.
Yes, you did? Okay. Do you know what that document is? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
It's just that when we filed the claim stuff, basically like a receipt for the claims when we filed them and paid the money to the maintenance fees.
And who did you pay the money to?
BLM.
And so is it your testimony that this is your receipt?
Yes.
Okay, and does, it has, how many properties are listed on here?
A total of 5.
All right, and what's the total amount that you paid?
$1,215.
All right, and your name's listed on here, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is there a date of the transaction?
December 2nd of 2014.
All right, state would offer exhibit number 2 into evidence.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
So ordered.
I have no further questions of this witness.
Mr. Howard?
Okay, yes, Mr. Ritter, the claim, which claim that you are claiming to have posted and so forth included the mine in question? The mine shaft, I should say.
Yeah. What claim?
Yeah.
My wife would know more than me, but I believe it was number 3.
And where was that posted?
Right, is the BLM numbers?
Well, the initial location notice, the initial monument.
It was posted right as you come on the claim, just right. It's been a year ago. I'm trying to remember exactly where we put the monuments, and it was done as a family effort, so. to describe where the monument was on that one. It would have been more up towards, kind of as you start up the hill from the ore bin, or down the hill from the ore bin.
Okay, are you familiar with the Arizona Revised Statutes 27202 about the method of locating a load of claims?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the load claim should be located basically on the center line within the boundaries of the claim? Well, are you familiar with that rule where it should be located on the center line of the boundaries of the claim?
I don't recall.
And did you post it on the center line within the boundaries of the claim?
I believe we did, yes.
Or stake the claim there?
It's actually on the map, marked on the maps where they were posted. It's
Okay,
in the-
which map?
But I don't recall these maps, and you're asking me questions that's hard for me to answer because I'm not sure which claim it is as far as the actual number. I'm thinking it's 3, but I'm not positive. But BLM did check everything out. That's what the money was paid on. Part of the fees on that was they were supposed to go out and actually check the physical markings and post and everything, and they did approve it and stamp it. So
Did they approve and stamp it while you were there?
no, they mailed it to us. They mailed all these copies back to us, and this is what we on December. They approved it on December 2nd. Yeah, December 2nd, and then we received it in the mail.
So you don't recall which claim would include that shaft and where the monument was?
It's hard for me to sit here and look at the land in my mind and picture exactly on the map where it falls. I'm terrible when it comes to visualizing and describing it.
Would it be visible from, for example, from the near the entrance of the mine shaft?
Not from the entrance of the mine shaft, no.
And then also, are you familiar with the requirements of Arizona Revised Statutes 27203-203 about the within 90 days locating the boundaries of the claim?
Yes.
And I'm not sure from your testimony previously, but did you locate the boundaries of all 5 of these claims?
Yes.
And when do you, when is it your testimony that those were located?
The boundaries was located back, the previous, one of the previous partners that had the claim, back when it was GB, we kept the name GB Renegade, but he's the one that named it that. He actually went out there with us, and we went around all the boundaries and markers that was done before we staked the claims and did all that. He was kind of he helped us do that. We went off his old markers. A lot of them were still there. He gave me poles at his house to put up the ones that weren't, and they was all put back up.
And what were those markers?
They were on the corner markers were basically the galvanized posts with caps. They set 4 or 5 feet high. It states it in the list of our stuff what the poster made of. But they were actually like chain posts, fence posts that were capped. About half of them are still up there. They keep disappearing. And I talked to BLM about that too, and they said that it was marked at the time when they went out there, and that's what matters. It don't matter if they're there now or not.
And then you stated, isn't it true that the monument that you found that had been erected by my client was built out of an old crate-type wood.
I didn't say it was built out of a crate, but it was, that we had taken up there. It was what our stuff was in when we went up there.
And isn't it true that there were old, remains of previous mining activity and so forth that were located there at that mine and in that mine?
Yeah, yes.
And you say that, did you attempt to determine, based on the information provided on that notice, what specific claim was being claimed by that notice?
Yeah, we looked at them all. He was marking his claims different than we had ours marked. The boundaries that he was showing was different than our boundaries with what we could get from looking at his map he had drawn. We're going back a while. I'm having a hard time remembering exactly everything. But at that point, we'd already had the claims with BLM. We even had our numbers that was even posted up on the sign as you come into the claims.